Hey everyone, it's Friday, March 18th, 2022, and that means it's time for another episode of Live with Virginia NORML. I'm J.M. Padini, the Development Director for the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws and the Executive Director of the State Affiliate Chapter, Virginia NORML. As always, we're going to talk all things cannabis in the Commonwealth and answer your burning questions live. Hey, so the Virginia General Assembly is over. Well, mostly. There's still the reconvened session. That's the day, it's the veto day. We'll come back and hear any amendments from the governor. As far as cannabis policy, we are hoping that Governor Youngkin will sign, and we entirely expect him to sign, the medical cannabis legislation that did succeed in this session. Only 3 bills related to cannabis policy succeeded in the 2022 General Assembly, and 2 of them are really, really important to the medical cannabis program. We have a big bill like this every year, and this one's really awesome. And I think that in any session where we hadn't been talking about legalization, it would have been really newsworthy. People seem to be focused on that other stuff, though, understandably. But listen, patients aren't going to have to register for the program anymore. That's big. Most states still require registration, but Virginia is poised to join the select group of those that do not. That'll be great for patients, particularly the 8,000 patients that are still waiting for their approval. So hopefully Governor Youngkin will find a way to expedite the date those bills, they're identical, can take effect. So we do have an action alert up on our ACT page. That's at vanormal.org/act. And you can, in just a few clicks, send a letter straight from yourself, from your email, to Governor Youngkin saying, hey, please sign these bills, but also expedite the date that they take effect, so we can relieve this burden not only on patients, but on the Virginia Board of Pharmacy. Maybe if I got into the comments over here, I can see what you all are saying. And I'm super excited to see you all. Hello, Wade. Hello, Daniel and Joshua. Happy Friday indeed, Wade. Hi, Ryan. Hi, Ellie. Hi, Carol. Hey, George. No one's classifying CBD as marijuana. Oh, hey, Michael. That's so awesome to hear that your card arrived. Yeah, you should totally get yours. Look, you can be awesome like Michael and get your Virginia NORML 2022 member card and also be equally normal and awesome like Michael and get your 2022 NORML membership card. Go to normal.org/join and go to vanormal.org/join. We'll send you both of those. Thanks, Michael. That's super awesome. Hey, Sue. Glad to see you. Thanks for being here. Hey, Ryan in Williamsburg. Hey, Mel. Happy weekend to you, too. Hey, Marcy. Good to see you, friend. Fred says, happy harvest weekend. Happy harvest weekend to you, Fred. And you're welcome. Awesome. Charlie, you got both of your cards. So glad to hear those arrived. Oh, Charlie, that's really kind of you to say. Listen, it's thanks to the support from great people like you that we're able to do this work. And, you know, feel free to encourage all of your friends to join NORML. So we talked about the 2 pending medical bills, and those are headed to Governor Youngkin's desk. So is Senate Bill 591 by Senator Hanger that would, unlike 22 other states, and unlike Kentucky's bill that was just filed, would not criminalize products that are synthetic cannabis or that claim to be hemp or CBD or whatever and contain higher amounts of THC wouldn't criminalize them as other states do. It would instead simply require that they be regulated by the Cannabis Control Authority. So that bill is headed to the governor's desk as well, and we'll see what he does with it. Oh, hey, good news. Good news, friends. Tell us what you think about your experiences at Virginia dispensaries. I know a lot of people are waiting for more dispensaries to open. There is that Carytown location here in Richmond for G-Leaf, but that is not yet open, at least according to Cassidy, who did some very diligent research before this. And speaking of dispensaries, let me reach over here and get my trusty green sticky note that I keep to remind me about the pending medical cannabis dispensary in Health Service Area 1, sort of the whole top half of the state, top part of the state, except for the little concentrated Northern Virginia area. So that health service area license has been embroiled in a legal battle for a really, really, really long time. And they eventually, I think it was maybe 2 weeks ago now, they finally went back to court. And MedMen is technically the true entity that owns that license at this point. And they lost. They lost the case, but it doesn't mean it's done because they still have the opportunity to file an appeal. We fully expect that they will file an appeal, and then that case will go on. And so really what this means is something happened, but nothing really happened. There's still the appeal that's likely to happen and will take some time to go through. So it doesn't, at this point in time, look like Board of Pharmacy is able to review applications for the secondary RFA, request for applications, that they held for Health Service Area 1. But should they be able to do so soon, and hopefully that's the case, then those applicants for that health service area will have the opportunity to update their applications before they're reviewed, since it's been so long. So that's what's up. Thank you. Thank you, Anna. That's very nice of you to say. Look, I think a lot of people in Virginia can't believe where we are today. And yeah, 5 years ago, I myself wasn't certain that we would be where we are today, but we're in a pretty great spot. And, you know, if we can all manage to actually row the boat in the same direction in the next legislative session, then we might actually get somewhere sooner rather than later. And wouldn't that be fun? Oh, hey, Janice. Yes is the short answer to that. So you can find a complete list of dispensaries that are open in Virginia. And these are real dispensaries, actual licensed medical dispensaries. Anything that's not on this page is not an actual licensed dispensary. And at these medical dispensaries here in Virginia, there are pharmacists on staff. So you have the ability not only to talk to the person who helps you choose your products at checkout, but you can also have a consultation with the pharmacist if you want to talk in greater detail about what your health needs are and maybe help you determine what are the appropriate products and appropriate dosages. And just like with any other pharmacy experience, once you get home and you try your products, if you find out that that's not working right for you, you can simply call and ask to speak to the pharmacist. So just like with antibiotics or whatever. Hey, James in Indiana, good to see you again. Oh, Michael. Maybe, probably not. Look, the only way we would be addressing something like that is if a special session were convened that were germane to which that that legislation would be germane. So you might recall we had 2 special sessions. I can't even remember. Was it last year? I don't know how time works anymore. But we recently had 2 special sessions, and they were this is 2020, and they were specific to criminal justice issues. And so we did have legislation, notably the legislation that ended the ability to use I smell marijuana as the sole reason for stop, search, or seizure of a person, place, or thing. And so because that subject was germane to that special session, then those bills could be introduced. So possibly if such a session were convened to which that topic would be germane. But I wouldn't hold your breath on that, Michael. I think we are looking at another year. I can't figure out where that picture is. Oh, it's back here. I think we're looking at another year of Virginians needing to make good choices. There it is. There it is. We'll just get this back out because it's unlikely that any of those bad code sections are going to get cleaned up this year or before the next session. So remember, friends. Yeah, we'll just put that there. We'll just say that needs to be out for about another year. Hey, Jennifer Douglas, I hope you emailed me about what size shirt you want. Okay, let's see. How about this? Burning question. If the legislature does not pass, okay, so it wouldn't be reenactment next session, right? Reenactment was specific to 2022. So it'll be a new bill, even though Senator Evans' 391 was continued to next year. It's still going to be a different bill that gets brought back up. And it's going to require a new bill. It's going to require, honestly, I think, to move forward in 23, we're going to need multiple skinny bills. That means bills that have a very limited scope and just deal with a specific topic. That way we aren't coming into debates or hearings where people are saying, oh, this bill is so big, it's so many pages, I can't read that. Right? That was a super fun excuse for the last 2 years. Hopefully people are learning from that experience, and maybe they're going to, I don't know, take the strategy recommendations of experts who work solely in this field. Maybe they're going to do that. Maybe they're going to believe that we ought to have skinny bills with narrow scopes so that we can get at least some things done. Or maybe not. Maybe they're all going to become cannabis policy experts during the interim. Let's find out together. Sean says flower quality is disappointing. Hey, Sean, from where? Let everyone know what you think and when. Oh, Tamara, I am so glad that you mentioned this, because Cassidy and I were just talking about events. Hey, friends, Tamara, not only from the Virginia NORML Board of Directors, but the creator and curator of Cruel Consequences, Portraits of Misguided Law, has published a book, and she will be signing her new book, The Human Cost of Marijuana Prohibition, at Grow Depot in Virginia Beach this Sunday from 11 to 5. So stop by and get some coffee and shop for cultivation supplies and get your book signed by Tamara. Cody, thank you. Jennifer Douglas, you do need a new shirt too. So respond to the email and tell me what size. Vicki, you know I'm right about reenactment. Thank you, friend. Hey, everyone. Take a minute and drop some big bright red hearts in the comments right now, wherever you're watching. Drop some big bright red hearts in the comments for Vicki, who is at home, healing, and getting back to being the incredible social justice warrior that she is. There come those hearts. Okay. Yeah, KA, you're not wrong. Look, when people are like when you are giving built-in excuses to people, particularly when you've heard it from multiple sessions in a row, don't give them the opportunity to use that excuse again. Let's just get around it. Thank you, friends. I love seeing all these hearts for Vicky. All right. So, as much as I do love my time here in Virginia, I took a quick jaunt up to Pennsylvania this week, and that was super interesting to see how another state's legislature works. Senator Regan in Pennsylvania wanted to hear from us here in Virginia about our regulatory experiences as that state looks toward possibly enacting legalization themselves. They have a medical cannabis program. They're struggling with some regulatory issues, some weird recall stuff. And so they reached out and wanted to know what our take was on some of the issues that they're experiencing there. A lot of them we've experienced here in Virginia, and we've made policy recommendations that have been adopted by the state and have rectified those issues. So we offered similar policy recommendations to the state of Pennsylvania, and we'll see what they do with those. But that was pretty cool. Their offices, their legislators' offices are actually in the Capitol itself. The whole Capitol like building complex. They're inside there, unlike ours, which is two separate buildings. And their offices are like little congressional offices or wood paneling, and you walk in and it's like that kind of little waiting area on the front, and you walk back through some staffing and into the legislator's office. And so it was kind of cool to see how other states do it. Oh, hey, Ben. Good to see you, Ben. Glad to know you are working hard on petitions in Nebraska. Hey, Sue, thanks for that intel there. And yeah, hey, everyone, drop your comments in here and let us know what you're loving or not loving, what's working for you, or what isn't from our medical cannabis program here in Virginia. We'll see what we can do to make it better. Yes, Ryan, we are all dealing with regulatory stuff. Hey, Sherry. Happy Friday to you, or should I say, oh, Sherry, happy Friday to you. Look what's back, friend, because we're going to need a whole other year of reminders. Yes, Jennifer, 2022 memberships are out. Ryan, you're not wrong. Look, until we have retail access for Virginians, it's great for those who can afford the medical program. So happy that we don't have a weird made up list of conditions here. So happy that we don't have product restrictions here, that we don't have age restrictions on our medical program. It's accessible to any Virginian, really, for any healthcare reason that their registered practitioner thinks is appropriate. And so we're definitely fortunate in that regard. Not super fortunate that we only have a very small number of dispensaries that are open at this time. Fortunately, you can use telehealth to get registered. Fortunately, the dispensaries are able to provide delivery, things that we did not have to struggle with during COVID. We already had these things in place. And so, in some ways our program is really excellent. And then in other ways it falls short. And so, great if you're able to access that, or also great if you're able to cultivate at home. If you're 21 or older, you're able to cultivate for personal use up to 4 plants per household. But if you don't own your home, chances are greatly diminish that you'll be able to cultivate plants at home for personal use. And Ryan is so right. Until we have legal sales, it's really Virginians who are missing out. And people like to talk about, oh, there's the potential tax revenue, or oh, there's the money to be made by these businesses. Listen, there's a couple hundred business licenses, available. Let's say that in reality, let's say that the numbers stay the same, and let's say that 850 businesses get licensed, 400 retail and 450 cultivation. And that's not set in stone. That's just what was proposed a couple years ago. Maybe that'll change. There are millions of consumers in Virginia, and there's a few hundred potential licensees. Yet, for yet one more year in Virginia, the legislature has decided to prioritize who gets to make, or at least the argument over who gets to make a buck first or next off of consumers instead of consumers themselves, right? Well, fortunately for consumers, you do have a voice in the public policy debate, not only on Capitol Hill, but here in Virginia as well. NORML represents the interest of responsible consumers, not big businesses, or really of any businesses, because we're not a business association. Ah, Rick, so good to hear that, friend. I'm glad that your card arrived. Hey, Michael. Yes. As long as your written certification is valid, right? So a written certification is valid for 1 year. So once the new law takes effect, whatever date that date is at this time would be July 1, but it could be sooner. As long as the written certification were valid, then that would be it. So if your certificate's about to expire, go get a new one. Ryan, I think a lot of people are as well. Oh, look at Adam there with some wise words. Wise words. Awesome. Good to know. Good to know, Adam. Good to hear good things about Rise, particularly out in Abingdon. That's really interesting, KA, that you mentioned that, because excuse me while I dig around behind me. Those of you who came to the Virginia Cannabis Conference in January received one of these Boveda packets. They were kind enough to send these to NORML to put in our swag bags for our conference attendees, and we'll have these Boveda packs, humidity packs that KA is talking about. We will have those with us at Shamrock the Block next weekend. Shamrock the Block was rescheduled to March 26th because, remember, not this weekend, but the one before, we had wind and snow and sleet and all of the weathers in one day. So they smartly rescheduled Shamrock the Block to the 26th. That's right here in Scott's Addition on Boulevard. It's a great time. There's live music. There's lots of food and drinks and people and kids and pets. And it's a great time. So definitely come and check it out. Come see us. We'll have these humidity packs at our table, at our tent. We also need volunteers. If you are a first-time volunteer, you will receive a sweet, sweet Virginia NORML t-shirt. Assuming I still have them available in your size. We will. And if you've already volunteered with us, then you should wear the one we gave you. Email info@virginianorml.org to volunteer with us. It's Shamrock the Block. Hey, speaking of super awesome events, 2 events are coming up in April. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of events coming up in April because, it's that month where everyone remembers that cannabis is a thing. But I'm going to tell you about 2 really awesome events, and they are related. First, let's talk about the National Cannabis Policy Summit. That is produced by the same fine folks that bring you the National Cannabis Festival. The National Cannabis Policy Summit is on April 22nd. That's a Friday in Washington, D.C. It is free. And once tickets are available online, you can register to get your free ticket to the National Cannabis Policy Summit. This event has historically been broadcast on C-SPAN, so if you aren't in the area, you should be able to watch it somewhere. I think we streamed it online last year as well. So come if you can. If not, watch it from the comfort of your own home. And then the National Cannabis Festival is April 23rd. That is a Saturday. There is an amazing lineup of concerts that day. And there's the Advocacy Pavilion, where you'll find yours truly. You'll find lots of other amazing orgs doing great work. Wiz Khalifa is the headliner for National Cannabis Festival this year. In the past, NCF has ended at 8 p.m. This year, there are so many great artists, it goes until 11 p.m. So get your tickets now at nationalcannabisfestival.com. It's a really amazing event. They have great discounts at surrounding hotels on the website. Everything you need to know is there at nationalcannabisfestival.com. NORML and Virginia NORML are both super proud to have been advocacy partners at NCF since its inception. We've been back every year, and we love participating in the advocacy committee. Ryan, you do need to volunteer. Hey, look at all these people telling us about getting their cards in the mail. You know what I was doing this week. I'm so glad it showed up. That is amazing. Oh, hello, Alban. You're in France. Oh, well, fortunately, I'll put this one up here. So we do have a chapter of NORML in France. They're doing excellent work there. France isn't, quite as far along as we are here in the U.S. with reforming marijuana laws, but fortunately, there are really excellent people working in France right now to help change cannabis policy. Definitely connect with them if you haven't already. Sarah, you're welcome, friend. Hey, Jean. So right now the law is the law, and where the people can grow, but listed to what they can. You can cultivate up to 4 plants at home, 4 plants per household for personal use. You can cultivate indoors or outdoors, but if they are outdoors, they cannot be visible from a public way. That means the sidewalk or the road. It does not mean from your neighbor's backyard. And your plants must be properly tagged with your first and last name, your identification number that's on your driver's license or your other state-issued identification card, and it must indicate that they are for personal use. Failure to properly tag your plants or failure to properly shield your plants from public view could result in a Class 6 felony. That's right. What happens to retail if bills don't pass in 23? Nothing. Nothing happens, because the way it's written, it's not just that retail can begin on January 1, 2024, it's that retail can begin at licensed businesses. So businesses have to be licensed in order for that to happen. Hey, Kwame, good to see you. Yeah, Brian, that's definitely true. Everything is up for debate every single year. Look, we aren't putting in changes to the Constitution of Virginia when we write cannabis policy here. These are laws that take effect on generally July 1 of that year, and then we're into a legislative session in January of the next. And so generally we have the ability to change our laws every single year, whether that's good or bad. I mean, I think it's good. I would not like to be in a state where there's only a legislative cycle every 2 years. Unfortunately, our legislative sessions are very short here in Virginia by comparison, but at least they are every year. So, Sue, sort of. I mean, it is sort of. There's limited ability to advertise cannabis in states that allow it, but it's still limited also by federal law. So yes and no. Oh, okay. Thank you, Tamara, for this reminder. Tamara is mentioning that the 420 weekend in April, the 23rd, is that Saturday, that there will be events down in the Hampton Roads area. If you aren't able to go up to DC that Saturday, Gong Stock Fest at Bench Chop Brewery in Norfolk. And Tamara will be there for Virginia NORML and Cruel Consequences. So check that out on our Facebook once we have the link to the event. Rick, what's the logic behind the visibility issue? Yeah, so you're not sure what the legal objective was with these restrictions? Ooh, feelings, my friend. Look, we don't legislate based entirely or even largely on facts and reason and data. We legislate based on feelings. So if it made everyone feel good to say, well, you have to shield your plants from public view, right? Just like our medical cannabis program, those companies are called pharmaceutical processors. You know what they don't have anything to do with? Pharmaceuticals. These are cannabis companies. We call them pharmaceutical processors because that's what the legislature was emotionally comfortable with. So sometimes you have to do what you have to do to get the job done. This is a perfect example, Rick. They felt better saying you can't let anyone see your plants from the outside, from the public way. So that's where we are. That's why, Rick, thanks for asking. No, that's not going to happen. Look, I know people think that's, it's not going to happen. We're not going to have adult use sales through a budget amendment. We'd be thrilled if that were the case, but just read the room, friends, read the room. Listen to what people tell you. Believe them when they say it in the newspaper. Yeah, Ryan, this is one of the things that happened when 391 failed. All of the eggs were in one basket. Every single egg that we gave to the Senate got put into one big, gigantic, hundreds of pages long basket called 391, and it failed. And so with it failed the cleanup of some code. It's just not quite written properly. Like the part about tagging your plants and not doing so, not having a specified penalty. And when something doesn't have a specified penalty in code, the default penalty is a Class 6 felony. So tag your plants, friends. Keep them shielded from view from a public way. And as always, make good choices. Yeah, Jennifer, I don't think that is anything folks need to worry about. I think there will be ample opportunity for small businesses once Virginia finally gets around to adopting a regulatory model and licensing structure for adult use sales. Will it ever look that way, Bill? Yeah. So prices are going to come down in Virginia, and they've already come down to some degree. Once adult use sales start, that'll also really help the medical program bring its costs down. Remember, right now it's really difficult to register because it all goes through board of pharmacy and it takes a long time, and so it's difficult to navigate that process. Hopefully, we're going to make that a lot easier, and there will be more patients. There's a limited number of facilities. There's a limited number of patients right now, and that keeps costs high for everyone. But yeah, things will get better eventually. We're already better than some states, so there's that. This is a fun thing to say, but it's not really true. Big pharma is not our biggest obstacle, not here in Virginia and not really anywhere. It's our biggest obstacles are those that wish to maintain the existing structures under prohibition from which they profit. And there are a lot of entities out there that profit off of prohibition. It's fun to point fingers at big pharma, and in like some small ways they've thrown some cash at opposing ballot initiatives for legalization, but like that's not the primary opposition. Like being able to maintain the ability to criminalize people for a substance that stays in their bodies for a really long time. Think about who's invested in that type of systemic oppression of Americans, particularly Black and Brown Americans. That's who really wants to keep these, who works hard to keep this failed policy of prohibition in effect. And also, people do not care about this issue. Like, you all care about it. You're here. It's not most people. Most people don't care about something until it impacts them. Think about why you chose to join the fight with NORML. Is it because you wanted medical access? Is it because you or someone was criminalized by prohibition? That's probably one of those two answers. People don't really care about an issue until it personally impacts them. And marijuana prohibition is just not impacting most people. So it's a lot easier to maintain a status quo, particularly one that serves your financial interests. And that's where we're at on that. You and me both. Sure, maybe, but federal legalization, what that really is removing marijuana from the Federal Controlled Substances Act and allowing states to set or continue setting their own policies free from federal interference. Just like with alcohol, each state still makes their own laws. So even after the end of federal prohibition, there could and likely will be some states in which cannabis is illegal under state law. So it doesn't solve every problem, but it fixes a lot of bad policy. That's for sure. Jean, you're welcome. I'm glad I got what you were looking at or looking for. That's a great question, Michael. And we've been talking to some Commonwealth attorneys about that. And I keep watching the code sections, the code sections online to see if and when they're going to change. So when we notice changes in the code of Virginia, then we'll let you know. I haven't seen them yet. It's been, I think, like 3 days since I looked. There is a whole spreadsheet now. No, I'm looking for that because Cassidy can do it. Cassidy will drop the reenactment penalty spreadsheet in the chat for you, and you can take a look at the spreadsheet yourself and see what happens. Some of these are already in there, like the not tagging your plant stuff. That's already in there. And then there are some sections that were contingent upon reenactment that now will revert back. So Cassidy and Senator Evans' office did a great job at slogging through all these sections of code to see what was going to happen, and Cassidy put together this great spreadsheet, so you all can take a look at that. Hey, listen, we are going to do a statewide tour, and it will probably start in May. What we really want to do is get through the April reconvene session so that we know what the final changes are to the law based on any amendments that would come either from the budget or from Governor Youngkin, and ultimately if the legislature accepts or rejects any of these changes, proposed changes at veto session. So we're going to hit the road in May, and hopefully we'll see you in metro region close to your neighborhood for a Know Your Rights seminar. What are we going to call it? Workshop, meeting, session, Know Your Rights session. When we do go on this little road show, we're going to try to do 2 events when we're in your neck of the woods, whatever neck that is. We want to have the Know Your Rights session, and that'll be free and open to as many people who can fit in that space. There'll be policy experts there to talk about what the changes in law mean for everyone, from medical law and regulation to adult use to criminal penalties, to expungements and record sealing, resentencing, and review and release. We'll have it all covered. It'll be free. It'll be open for everyone who can make it out to attend. We will probably do a virtual version or 2 of this as well. And then we hope to follow up each one of those sessions with a fundraiser and networking event with local legislators. So make sure you are subscribed to the Virginia NORML email so you get notifications when we have this schedule ready for you in just a month or so. You can subscribe at vanormal.org/subscribe. Yeah, Sarah. I do try to be dropping some facts. I don't know, Bernie, but I bet a lot of people on the chat do. So, hey, everyone, answer Bernie's question about how much an ounce costs in Virginia at a medical dispensary. Hopefully, I think you're right. In some areas of the state, law enforcement does have more pressing issues. In some areas, for some people, yeah, they really were, and some of them are still. There's room for improvement, but they're a lot better now. Ooh, run down to the top 5. At the number 1, and I think there's like federal versus state or local. I kind of have to chuckle every time I say this. Look, you know who makes the most money on prohibition? Or not even prohibition. Like sometimes it's legal, but still you might not get a job, or you might lose your job, or you might lose your kids. That's right. Urine testing. Urine testing industry. That's who funds an organization who shall not be named because they really don't deserve my time. But yeah, look at who the biggest funders of these anti-cannabis organizations are, and it's urine analysis industry. Thanks for asking. That's not weird to talk about. Also, yeah, we like making money off people because we pretend like we abolished slavery in the United States, but we didn't. We just incarcerate people and then make them work for Victoria's Secret for 10 cents instead. And then, like, hey, if you look at, let's look at Virginia, for example. A lot of our legislators are attorneys, and a lot of them do criminal defense work, or they're prosecutors, or they were prosecutors. A lot of appetite to change the law when you're able to profit off its status quo. Ryan, thanks. That's really nice of you to say. Cassidy, thanks for sharing the spreadsheet. Great question. Why is he? Look, the Senate is not nearly as progressive as the House is. And I don't know whether progressive is even the right word, but they just aren't. Just like here in Virginia, at least from the Democrat perspective. I should rephrase that. Democrats in the Senate are not as progressive as Democrats in the House, not in Congress or here in Virginia. Oh, in Hanover? In Hanover, Jennifer. In Hanover, hopefully you mean they have better priorities. We'll see. Yes. So we do offer assistance to anyone who wants to start a normal chapter wherever they are around the world. Our affiliate chapter network is a global one. We have local normal chapters, we have statewide normal chapters, and we have chapters doing work in different countries as well. So definitely connect with Normal France. And if you need help doing that, just shoot us an email at chapters@normal.org. No, Vicky, no schedule yet, friend, because you and I haven't talked about it. I mean, I think we're all going to talk about it next week. You'll be on that call, and we'll figure out what we want to do for the road show that doesn't have a name yet. Thanks, KA, for providing that. Oh, look at that. People have all sorts of information. I love it. Ask and ye shall receive. That's a big change from 5:20 to 3:30. You're welcome, Rick. Liquid gold. They literally call it liquid gold. Isn't that gross? JT, listen, there's some normal chapter doing some good work out there. Get connected and listen. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Let's just start that over, friends. Listen, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. It is, I do not know upon what pillow of privilege one must rest their head upon at night when they can say, well, this isn't perfect and this doesn't do everything I wanted to do, so just don't pass anything. Right? That's you got to have a lot of privilege to be saying something like that. You have to be willing to accept incremental change. It's not fun. It's not sexy. It doesn't get you high fives, and it doesn't always feel good, but it's better than doing nothing. Like when football teams play, they move forward down the field, even if they don't make a touchdown. You gotta do what you can do. You gotta keep putting one foot in front of the other. You gotta be willing to accept those little tiny baby wins and like give yourself a high five and come back and do just a little bit more next year and a little bit more next year. It's how we are where we are today in Virginia. If we hadn't been willing to take these really small steps that everyone whined and complained about, we wouldn't have been able to legalize medical cannabis, decriminalize personal possession, and then legalize personal possession. Boom, 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 just like that. We wouldn't have been the 4th state in the nation to allow school use. We wouldn't have already had telehealth and delivery in place before the pandemic hit. We wouldn't have had all these things if we hadn't been willing to do this slow, incremental work that everyone else thought was, just not good enough. Well, guess what? It was great, and it got us where we are. Ryan, one chapter in Virginia. There's one chapter in Virginia. It's called Virginia NORML, but we do have Facebook pages that represent local chapters of us. That means someone lives there and, at least prior to the pandemic, would host events in person in your neck of the woods. For example, Roger tables for us at events out in Roanoke. So that's Roanoke Valley NORML, and Tamra tables for us or provides a presence for Virginia NORML at events in the Hampton Roads area. That's Hampton Roads NORML. Sebastian and Max, we're doing that up in Fredericksburg NORML. Jeremy up in Northern Virginia for Nova NORML. Heather up in Culpeper for Culpeper County NORML. These are all our local flavors of Virginia NORML, but there is one chapter, and it is Virginia NORML, and that's what we all are. Thanks for asking. Look, we keep telling people to do this, but, JT, thank you. That's right. You can select the NORML Foundation if you want to donate when you shop Amazon to NORML. You can also select Cannabis Commonwealth. That's our foundation here in Virginia if you want to donate to Virginia NORML when you shop through Amazon Smile. KA, you have a great weekend as well. Thank you, friend. Ryan, if you like volunteering for no money, then yes. So many jobs, friend. Thank you, Vicky. Randall, that's exactly what we do, not only at the state, but the federal level. Here at NORML, that's exactly what we do. But listen, rescheduling it to another schedule, that does not solve the issue. That is not the answer. Let me repeat that. Rescheduling is not the answer. It does not solve prohibition. It doesn't do anything that people, it's not the solution that people think it would be. The solution is to remove marijuana from the Controlled Substances Act and allow states to set their own policies free from federal interference. You can do that at the state level too, just like we have here in Virginia. Ryan, I am sure Tamara would appreciate your help. Look, right there below your comment, Tamara said volunteers needed in the Hampton Roads. Yep, Sherry, on Amazon Smile, we are, our 501c3 here in Virginia is called Cannabis Commonwealth. Hey, speaking of fun things, I just had these sitting here. They're sitting in a big pile next to me. That means we've been doing this show for at least 30 minutes because the lights just went off. Look, we have new socks. We have socks, so many socks. We're going to have these awesome socks at Shamrock the Block. I can't do this in the dark. That's how far I have to go to make the lights come on in the new office. There's an armoire in between me and the light switch that supposedly saves us money, but really just makes the lights go off when I do this show. You're right. That does suck. And we actually have an action alert to email President Biden saying, hey, my dude, maybe follow through on some of your campaign promises. Remember when you campaigned on marijuana? That'd be neat if you did something. You can find that action alert at normal.org/act and at vanormal.org/act. Click on that, send your message to President Biden saying, hey, do something. Awesome, friends. This has been great, and I can't wait to do this again next Friday, and I can't wait to see all of you at Shamrock the Block next Saturday. If you want to volunteer with us, I'd love to have you. Shoot us an email at info@virginianormal.org. Hey, everyone, have a great weekend. If you are watching this later, Feel free to drop your questions in the comments. We love to look at those and answer them for you online. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you back here next week. Thanks for watching.